Welcome to the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We're ahead of race 2 and I need to go to the grid. This is why I'm already driving in the golf cart. Isn't that nice here in the paddock? I hope you have fun too. And since maybe you did not see the race 1, so we're going to present you right now the highlights. See you. So Andreas Ahn jumped in and he's the driver right now. We're heading to the grid. These are the trucks. We are passing by the Truck Sport Burnout team from the Spanish Championship. So you have seen the pictures of race 1. Lots of action here in this traditional course. JARAMA is very special. Not only the curves, the ancient curves, but also the fans there and the stands. They're still there since 11 o'clock in the morning in a good mood. That's very great. So you can speed up, Andreas, so then we have a look and get to the grid where, of course, the main action is going to happen right now because all the trucks are competing ahead of race 2. We're going to see a reversed grid. So it's going to be Steffi Harm on pole position and we're going to try to get an interview with her. And until we do that, I may say our commentator Jack Warrell and Joachim Eberts, they're going to give you the insights from the commentary position.
Thank you very much, Christina. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Race 2 is very quickly going to get underway. As we heard, Steffi Harm, as she finished 8th in race 1 of the weekend, she has found herself on reverse grid pole position. So it's all to play for here at JARAMA for the second time this weekend. Race 1, wow. We had to look everywhere all the time. We saw a brilliant battle between René Reynard and Jamie Anderson before, sadly, Jamie Anderson picked up a drive-through penalty. And then we saw a 4-truck battle, 4 trucks all fighting over 10th place for a quite substantial amount of time during the race. It was Anthony Janiak leading that little train ahead of Stefan Faas, and Jose Rodriguez was in on the mix as well. And Stefan Faas really just tried to piece everything together, but I don't think he ever managed to get past Shane Brereton, who was also in that train. And then in the latter stages of the race, we saw 4th place up for grabs. Initially, Jochen Hahn was fending off the attentions of Antonio Albacete. He managed to build up a bit of a gap, and then the hard-charging Adam Lachko managed to work his way onto the tail of home favourite Albacete, and then the pair of those two battling away till the very end of the race. And we've still got lots to look forward to. There is the rather second-hand looking René Reynard. A lot of the trucks have a few battle scars with little rubber marks and held together with zip ties, but they are all ready and set ahead of race 2. We do have an interview with Steffi Harm. Down to you, Christina.
Yes, we're here at the pole position at Steffi Harm. So congratulations first, but the race is yet to start. What are your tactics?
Yeah, you know, it's always great to start from the pole position. For sure, it's the reverse grid. I know that all the fast ones are behind me. So I try to make a good start, maybe stay in front. This is the plan. And then we will see if we can keep it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We heard the signal, 10 minutes to go, so we need to get off the grid again. And yeah, wishing you all the best for this second race here at JARAMA. It's going to be a tough race, tough competition. Really looking forward to it.
Me too, Christina. There's a lot to look forward to, well and truly. You can see the Ford F-Max and the Iveco S-Way up at the head of the grid. The Iveco S-Way being the official pace truck of the FIA ETRC, and the Ford F-Max being generally just the official truck of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. You can see at the very tail of the grid is Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, and we had 2 retirements that I'm fully aware of, which was, of course, 2 of the Bagheera Racing Freightliners, Alia Koloc, and then we had Teo Calvet retire on lap 1 of the race with an electrical issue. But both Freightliners have taken to the grid, so we should see 3 Freightliners out there. Of course, Adam Lachko will also work his way onto the grid as well. I do believe he will start in 4th place, potentially 5th, depending on how the reverse grid has worked out. If you are new to the championship, we have 4 races every weekend, 2 qualifying sessions and 2 Super Pole sessions. The qualifying, everybody goes out to set their fastest lap times, and then the top 10 from qualifying go through to what is called a Super Pole session, and that is the session that decides how the top 10 will start the first race of the weekend. When it comes around to race 2, the top 8 finishes from race 1 are reversed, and that then gives you the grid for the second race. And the whole process is repeated on the next day. So this is the final race for today, and then tomorrow we've got another qualifying session, another Super Pole session, followed by 2 more races. So lots of action still to come from JARAMA. We do have an interview down on the grid with René Reiner. It'd be great to hear from him about how his race 1 went. Thank you very much, Christina.
Yes, 3 minutes left. I had a quick start getting off the pit lane, but it's René Reiner. So you're second after Steffi Hamm. Is going to be a tough competition, and the curves are really narrow, so it's difficult to overtake. What do you think? Where are you going to have some chances?
Actually, at the start, it's always the best chance, but yeah, we are both Iveco drivers, so we will try that everybody can stay alive also in the first lap, and then we will see who is in the front, and we have to accept it.
Staying alive is always a good option. Norbert Kisch told me that the tyres playing a role in this weekend at JARAMA. Do you think that as well as a crucial role?
Yeah. JARAMA is a tire-eating racetrack, you know, and already after 2 or 3 laps, their tires are almost destroyed. So tire management is really important. But it's in the race sometimes difficult, you know, because we have to go fast and cannot take so much care on the tires. For that, I'm a little bit happy that now the temperature is a little bit more down. And yeah, I guess it's a little bit easier now than before.
Thank you very much. We're really looking forward to the race, and let's have a look at the tires. Those are good tires right now. We will see how they're going to look like after the race.
Yeah, so plenty of tread on the front left-hand tyre of René Reiner. Of course, there are a lot of very quick left-handers. Of course, at turn 1, very quick left-hander indeed. And then through Monza, the penultimate corner, Tunnel, the final corner, in which we saw an incident for Shane Brereton in free practice 1, where he had a spring break. Thankfully, he is all okay, and we saw him out in qualifying and the first race of the weekend. And he was massively thankful for his team mechanics, because they did a brilliant job of getting that truck repaired, race ready and safe to return to the circuit. So incredibly happy is Shane to return to the circuit and then win the Goodyear Cup in the first race of the weekend. So still got lots to look forward to. Somebody to keep an eye on throughout this race. I've got to say, Jose Rodriguez, he had a really tricky job trying to carve his way back up through the order in a little incident at the first corner on the first lap of race 1 of the weekend. He had all the work to do to work his way back up through the order and never really found his rhythm. But race 2, you start afresh, you can go back out there, and we'll see whether Jose can work his way back up through the order. Another driver to keep an eye on that is further down, of course, Teo Calvet, French truck racing champion. He's been incredibly competitive throughout the whole season, won every single race 1 through 4 at Zolder in the Goodyear Cup, and had 2 overall podiums. So he took to the podium 6 times in that weekend. And we've still got another race to look forward to today, starting towards the tail end of the order, but keep an eye out for him working his way through the cracks and potentially on the cards for a top 10 finish here at race 2 of the weekend. Of course, we are here at JARAMA in Spain, a very historic circuit. It's held around about 11 Formula 1 Grand Prix between the years of 1967 and 1981. It plays host to the Superbike World Championship, the World Touring Car Championship, and it is a very historic circuit. We can hear the drivers just mentioning that the circuit is very abrasive. It can chew through your tyres. The curbs are somewhat old-fashioned as well, so they are the slightly easier curbs to straddle as you're going around compared to the more modern curbs, the ones that you'll spot around most of the Formula One World Championship circuits, where they are red and white and have got quite some drop-off, but you can see there from that camera angle that not as steep as you'd usually expect. Of course, here at Jarama, we are in San Sebastián de los Reyes, just north of Madrid. So while the weather this morning was very sunny, the clouds have come over. It's somewhat overcast. The temperature will slowly start to cool down, so potentially it means that they can get a bit more performance out of their tyres. Of course, on a cooler track, you tend to find a bit more grip, and the track has been used all day, not only by the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, but also by the Spanish Truck Racing Championship. So there's lots of rubber laid down. So the drivers will tend to find there'll be a bit more grip in this race compared to race 1. And of course, with the cooler temperatures, it means the trucks can run at a slightly more efficient rate as well. Speaking of efficiency, the trucks all run on a bio-HVO diesel. It's 100% renewable, which will help in the aids of getting the championship to net zero, so zero carbon emissions by 2038, by the very latest. So a greener side to motorsport on the way, which is of course brilliant to see. And other championships, not only in Europe, but all around the world, starting to make the most of 100% renewable energy. And once again, just bringing a greener side to motorsport, so it means we can do it. And we make sure we look after the environment as we go, because of course without the environment to race we won't be able to do it at all. So it is great to see that championships are slowly bringing on this up-to-date technology, and it really is helping the environment as we go as well. And I've got to say, it is a lot to do, especially when these trucks are 13-litre single turbo engines producing around about 1200 brake horsepower, alongside that with 5,500 Newton meters or 4,500 pound-foot of torque. So that's a lot of power that the drivers have available to them. So tyre management normally is an issue, but even more so around here at Jarama. And we did see a few penalties come in throughout race 1, a couple of drive-through penalties as well. Of course, the main one was track limits. It's so easy to do because these trucks, they weigh a minimum of 5.3 tons, and when you're sat quite high up in the cab, it can be very, very, very difficult when you're nose to tail with another truck to spot the track limits. So it just takes a slight mistake, slightly too fast into a corner, and you can exceed the track limits whilst gaining an advantage, and that will gather the attentions of the race stewards. And then, of course, overspeeding as well. All the trucks on the grid are limited to 100 miles per hour or 160 kilometers per hour. And if you overspeed, that will once again draw the attentions of the fabulous race stewards. And you will find yourself with either a time penalty added on or potentially a drive-through penalty, as we saw two, Elia Koloc and Jamie Anderson both receiving drive-through penalties in the first race of the weekend. Final few team members and championship officials working their way off the grid. And in a few moments' time, the second race of the weekend will be getting underway. The Iveco S-Way pace truck will lead the field round on their green flag warming up lap. All the drivers will have the opportunity to get some temperature into the tyres, into the brakes, and then we will have a rolling start for the second race here at Jarama. If you are new to truck racing, you will see a very little black smoke, because if you do end up emanating too much black smoke from your truck, once again that will draw the attentions of the race stewards. If you get caught out with it once, you will get a warning. If you get caught out with it again, it means that it could lead to an exclusion. You can see the number 20 of Teo Calvé with his door open, potentially rather hot in the cabin of that Freightliner. Hopefully there's no issue there. And in regards to the black smoke, like I say, it can lead to an exclusion if you are emanating too much. If you see steam pouring from the front of these trucks, it really isn't anything to worry about. It can just be the water-cooled brakes, because of course, like I say, minimum of 5.3 tons, 3.1 of those tons has to be over the front axle. So that's a lot of braking power, a lot of braking performance that needs to be utilised. And the best way to cool these brakes down, obviously with the air, alongside that, you have the water-cooled brakes, which the drivers can control. So if you do see lots of steam or potentially a little bit of water coming out of the front of these trucks, it can just be those water-cooled brakes working away. The Iveco S-Way pace truck pulls away, and then Steffi Harm and René Reiner from the front row of the grid will head out on their formation lap. Iveco S-Way are Iveco themselves are very excited to continue a successful partnership with the FIA ETRC. Currently been a partner for quite some time. They have just said that they are going to be with the FIA ETRC for another 3 years. So it's very much a committed relationship from Iveco, which is obviously great to see, and it is a very pretty truck, utilising some of the cutting-edge technology, much like that HVO biofuel that the FIA ETRC use in the bio LNG, liquefied neutral gas powered pace truck. So it's great to see that not only in the way of racing, but in the way of road use as well, this greener technology can really be used to benefit the environment as well. See the very bright Anthony Janiak working his way around, following Sacha Lenz. You can see Sacha Lenz and Norbert Kisch side by side. We know Sacha's very quick off the line. He got the best start of the two on the run up towards turn 1 in the first race. Of course, Norbert Kisch put it on pole position. He did worry about Sacha's start, and Sacha had a brilliant start. And just because he was on the outside, it means he was left very little road to use. But he will have the inside line on the run up towards turn 1 for the second race of the weekend. So we could see potentially Sacha Lenz work his way in front of Norbert Kisch. This is how they line up for the second race of the weekend. Steffi Halm on reverse grid pole with René Reina alongside. Then it's Andre Kurzem in third with Adam Lachko starting in fourth. The third row of the grid is made up of home favourite Antonio Albacete with Jochen Hahn alongside. And then the final few rows of the grid are as follows. Jose Rodriguez, Stefan Faas, Jamie Anderson, Luke Garrett, Elia Koloc and Teo Calvé have returned for the second race of the weekend. And it's Heinrich Clementecker starting in 17th place. Norbert Kisch, just a few weeks ago at Le Mans, did take the race 2 win with Adam Lachko finishing in second, and it was Sacha Lenz finishing in third. That was race 2 at Le Mans. So we could potentially see Norbert Kisch work his way up through the order, but he has 7 trucks in front of him, so lots of work to do if he wants to get back up there. Lots of weaving around being done by all of the trucks just to get some temperature into those tyres. Not too much, however, to start wearing down those tyres earlier than you have to. You can see there Andre Kurzem and I think also Norbert Kisch with their lights ablaze, just letting the trucks in front know that they mean business and they want to work their way through the order as soon as possible. The Iveco S-Way pace truck will work its way in towards the pit lane in a few moments' time. And then the second race of the weekend will very shortly get underway. It's Steffi Halm leading the field, René Reina alongside. Through the final corner we go. Andre Kurzem has Adam Lachko alongside. You can see the red lights on the gantry still illuminated. As soon as they go green, we will go racing. So it's Steffi Halm coming towards the line. Red lights are on. They extinguish now, and we go racing here at JARAMA for the second time this weekend. Steffi Halm leads them in towards turn 1. It's a good start. She's already managed to build up a little bit of space between herself and René Reina. Andre Kurzem still alongside with Adam Lachko. We'll have a look in towards turn 1. Steffi Halm is still there. It's a great start from Norbert Kisch. He's managed to work his way in front of Sacha Lenz. And on the run up towards turn 1, still looks fairly clean. I think potentially Elia Koloc got caught out on the gravel in the background, but Steffi Halm still leading the way. René Reina under ever increasing pressure from Andre Kurzem. Looking back from Stefan Faas, you can see Jose Rodriguez elbowing his way up the inside. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Anthony Janiak trying to get in on that as well. Side by side in the background still. That's Teo Calvé being one of those. I think that was Luke Garrett trying to defend his position. A big look up the inside there from Andre Kurzem, really slamming the door open, just trying to work his way up the inside of René Reina. 3 wide now. Adam Lachko on the outside. There's contact between the pair of them. Steffi Halm still just about in the lead. I think Adam Lachko might have made his way past René Reina as well. So from what I gather, it'll be Steffi Halm with Andre Kurzem alongside. It was on the exit of the corner. There is Steffi Halm, really extending that lead margin. The number 23 of Antonio Albacete. That's René Reina towards the wall. Let's hope he got that slowed down and didn't make contact. Yes, he has made heavy contact with the tyre barrier. Tyres strewn all over the infield. And he has managed to escape that fairly lightly. Of course, safety being the number 1 priority here in all motorsport, it means that truck did slow down very quickly, very safely as well. So hopefully he can return to the pit lane, but we still have the race going on. Steffi Halm leading the way, trying to build a gap over the fellow Iveco of Andre Kurzem. Antonio Albacete sat following along in 4th place. I can't quite pick out who that is We'll see at the next camera angle who it is. That looks like Jochen Hahn in 4th place. Then it's Norbert Kish, Sascha Lenz and Shane Brereton. We must have seen a slight mistake. It could have been potentially when Adam Lachko got elbowed out wide. He lost a stack of positions. Anthony Janiek has got Teo Calvet all over the tail end. Then it's Stefan Fast with Jamie Anderson pulling over towards the right-hand side, towards the pit wall, trying to find the gap in towards turn 1 for the second time. It's Steffi Halm still leading the way. Andre Kurzim sat in 2nd place. Antonio Alberthetti in 3rd. Jochen Hahn is slowly coming under pressure now from Norbert Kies and Sascha Lenz. In the background you can still see Shane Brereton trying to defend as hard as he can. Jamie Anderson just slowly putting the pressure on to Jamie and onto Stefan Fast. There's a yellow flag at turn 9. That could be for René Reynard. Norbert Kish all over the tail end of Jochen Hahn now. Shane Brereton still under pressure from Adam Lachko behind. A bit of breathing space as Stefan Fast now over Jamie Anderson. I think that's because Luke Garrett has managed to pile a little bit of pressure on the number 33 MAN. The lead gap's very slightly coming down visually now, so Steffi Halm coming under a bit more pressure. Antonio Alberthetti still sat there in 3rd place. It's all nose to tail in the background. Shane Brereton, Adam Lachko, and it's Jose Rodriguez, Anthony Janiek, and it's Teo Calvet, Stefan Fast, Jamie Anderson. There is Luke Garrett, who was Heinrich Clemens-Hecker just behind. Alia Koloch trying to make up for a poor race 1, working her way back up through the order. Still Steffi Halm leading the way from Kurzim, from Alberthetti, from Hahn. Yellow flag now in turn 8. You can see there Jochen Hahn, he's doing what he can to follow Sascha Lenz. But Shane Brereton is just sat behind. His main focus will be Adam Lachko, sat behind. Not a great run out of Bugatti from Jochen Hahn, potentially with an issue on that truck. I think I saw an indicator illuminating. Adam Lachko carving his way up the inside of Shane Brereton. And you can see Jose Rodriguez trying to follow suit. Jochen Hahn dropping down the order. He's lost three places in the space of a couple of corners. Maybe some sort of issue with that truck, but he is still continuing on. He losing another place now, I think, to Anthony Janiek. So definitely some sort of issue from our 6-time FIA European Truck Racing Championship champion. So now it's 3 trucks for the lead. Steffi Halm, Andre Kurzim, and then Antonio Alberthetti. A little bit of damage aboard the front end of Adam Lachko, but he is still charging forward. Then we get back to Shane Brereton, who is on the coattails of Jose Rodriguez. Jochen Hahn trying to make up those lost places. Let me get back to Teo Calvet, who has managed to work his way past Anthony Janiek. Definitely 3 trucks for the lead now. Steffi Halm, last time they crossed the line, half a second separating herself and Andre Kurzim. Antonio Alberthetti, home favourite, still sat there. A big look up the inside now from Jochen Hahn, up the inside of Shane Brereton. He goes, does manage to get it slowed down, but Shane carries the superior momentum around the outside. The camber works for him around there, and he does remain in that place. But all this battling will only allow Teo Calvet to get closer and closer and really start to make a move for those positions. Steffi Halm still leading the way from Andre Kurzim, from Antonio Alberthetti. Norbert Kish is now in on that. Bringing with him is Sascha Lenz, so it's 5 trucks all for the lead. Anthony Janiek goes very wide through Ascari. Well, there's a couple of trucks rattling over the curb and potentially a little bit of grass involved there in the background. There is Teo Calvet, who has managed to get past Jochen Hahn, so Jochen definitely with an issue on that truck. You can see the indicator flashing away. Through goes Anthony Janiek and Stefan Fast. Jamie Anderson goes by as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Jochen Hahn is destined for retirement. That truck really isn't working at 100% for him. There is Jamie Anderson trying to work his way past Anthony Janiek. A late move up the inside, very well driven. Just about gets the truck slowed down for Bugatti. And back up the hill we'll go towards Monza. Still leading the way is Steffi Halm, under more pressure than we've ever seen her from Andre Kurzim. Andre really pushing forward now. There's a little bit of bodywork there on the exit of the final corner at Tunnel. So hopefully that won't cause any sort of issues for our drivers. Teo Calvet looking to pick up another place from Shane Brereton. Teo really on a mission now, up into 9th place. Good stuff from Teo. We'll see whether Jochen Hahn heads towards the pit lane. I think he has actually continued on this time through. There is Adam Lachko now. He's got Jose Rodriguez sat behind. Then we get back to the battle. In the background, you can see Jochen Hahn pulling in towards the pit lane, so that truck is going into retirement. Stefan Fast under pressure now from Jamie Anderson. Anthony Janiek just sat behind. And then we get back to Luke Garrett, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Alia Koloch. But Stefan Fast under more and more pressure. The lead still remains as it is. Andre Kurzem a little look up the inside there, trying to size up Steffi Helm, deciding where he's going to get the move done. We can't hang around for too long, because Antonio Albacete was looking as well. Teo Calvé up the inside of Shane Brereton. It's a late move. He has managed to make it work. Good stuff from Teo. There's Stefan Faas still fending off the attentions of Jamie Anderson behind. Anthony Janiak's got to be careful not to lose too much time to Luke Garrett. You can see there Jochen Hahn made contact with René Reinhardt. Both of them getting somewhat out of shape. And then we saw René go towards the wall. He did manage to continue on and get that truck back in towards the pit lane for retirement. That could be where we saw the issue arise for Jochen Hahn. So clearly some damage attained from that little knock. Elia Koloc still putting the pressure on the number 25 MAN of Heinrich Clemens Hecker. He had a turbo issue at Zolder, but no such troubles have befallen him here in Spain. Heading in towards Bugatti now is Teo Calvé with quite a large amount of damage on the front end of that Bagheera Freightliner. Sat behind now is Shane Brereton. Of course, the pair of them just trading places in towards Bagasso. The lead still remains as it is. It's 4 trucks for the lead, almost 5. Sasha Lenz sat there in 5th place, still pushing forward. Steffi Helm leading the way from Andre Kurzem. Antonio Albacete, home favourite, still sat in 3rd, but under pressure now from Norbert Kish, of course, race 1 winner and championship leader. Down towards turn 1 we go. Stefan Faas going defensive in the background from Jamie Anderson. There is Steffi Helm still leading the way. 4 laps of the race completed. Still half a second separating herself and Andre Kurzem behind. Antonio Albacete under pressure from Norbert Kish whilst trying to remain on the podium. There is the very heavily damaged René Reinhardt in the paddock. And it looks like that truck has got a lot of repairs to be done ahead of tomorrow's qualifying session. I'm sure that we will see it once again out tomorrow, but the team have a rather late night by the looks of that. Steffi Helm still leading ahead of Kurzem, Albacete, then Kish. Lenz is just sat waiting in the wings for something to happen. Adam Lachko has got Jose Rodriguez just sat behind, and now Shane Brereton is under pressure from losing another place because Stefan Faas is all over his tail, bringing with him Jamie Anderson. Anthony Janiak has still got Luke Garrett behind. Looking back from Stefan Faas now to see Jamie Anderson. Over Pagasso we go, and then towards the very quick right-left at Ascari before you jump on the brakes for the right-hander of Portago. So now on the brakes, down through the gearbox. Jamie Anderson desperately trying to get it slowed down, getting very close to the tail end of Stefan Faas. You can hear the tyres screeching away for some sort of rest. Now down towards Bugatti we go. Jamie Anderson still pushing forward, a little lift through there before getting back on the throttle once again, then hard on the brakes. We know Jamie Anderson loves a move in towards Bugatti. He's made a couple of good moves throughout this weekend there on the brakes. Jamie has always been very good on the brakes, so we could potentially see this change of position happen in the coming laps. Stefan Faas still trying to get past Shane Brereton up the road, through the double right-hander of Monza, the penultimate corner, then in towards Tunel, the final corner, of which we saw the incident for Shane Brereton at the start of the weekend, but his team managed to get that truck ready for race 1 and qualifying, and he's still out there battling hard with Stefan Faas, pulling over towards the right-hand side, hoping to defend that place in towards turn 1. Of course, so difficult to get any sort of move done in a straight line, because all the trucks limited to 100 miles per hour. Shane Brereton taking the defensive line, making sure that Stefan Faas can't work his way by. A big knock from Jamie Anderson, desperate to try and get through. You can see that compromised his exit, so he lost a little bit of time to the number 24 Tank Pool 24 racing machine just up the road. The sole Scania we've got out on circuit. It's still Steffi Helm leading the way, Andre Kurzem following suit. Then it's Albacete. Kish still followed by Lenz now, so it's 5 trucks all battling away for the lead. Contact in the background once again between Brereton and Faas. A big look up the inside now from Jamie Anderson. He pulls out of the move rather late. It's almost his half there, half isn't, and then we see Anderson drop back into the gap behind. But Anderson is desperate to get past Stefan Faas. It's just so difficult. We heard that it is a very tricky circuit to overtake. The number 25 machine of Heinrich Clemens Hecker has got a penalty after making contact with a 3rd penalty marker. And Stefan Faas very wide there on the exit of Pagasso. All through the gravel he went. Jamie Anderson, all that time he lost, has now gained back, and he's carving his way up through the inside, just trying to force the door open. Riding on board with him now. It's a great camera angle. You can see the front wheels working away on the Scania in front. Stefan Fast somehow managed to remain in 10th place. Jamie Anderson, he's really trying everything to get up in towards 10th place. In towards Bugatti we go. He has another look once again. He's got to be careful not to lose too much time battling away, because Anthony Janiak in the number 66 MAN is just sat behind. Crossing the line in a few moments' time to tick off lap 6. Steffi Helm, as far as I'm aware, is still leading the race. That lead gap is definitely coming down. And it's Andre Kurzim. Alberthetti still sat there in 3rd place. Through the final corner comes this battle. Brereton, Fast and Anderson. Janiak's just about in it now. So 6 laps of the race completed. 2 tenths separating our leaders. So very little to pick between them. Alberthetti has got just under a second to our leader as well. You can see in the background Heinrich Clemens Hecker coming in towards the pit lane to serve his penalty after making contact with a 3rd track limits marker. You can see the steam emanating from the front brakes of Anderson, desperately trying to get the brakes cooled down, ready for the stadium section of the circuit, where all the brilliant Spanish fans are sat watching along. Very, very loud are the Spanish fans. You can hear them now, air horns at the ready. And you can see we have had a change for the lead. That's Andre Kurzim in the lead, ahead of Steffi Helm. Then it's Alberthetti, Kish and Lenz still following suit. Then it's Lachko and Jose Rodriguez in the MAN, almost there as well. So it's somewhat 7 trucks for the lead already. And we get back to Brereton, Fast and Anderson still battling away. Janiak still there. We do have an interview with one of our retirees, Jochen Hahn. Let's try and find out what happened. Down to you, Christina.
Yeah, so forward the question, what happened?
It seems like the same problems like the first race, but in the first race we have enough speed to hold the podium. We have technical problems, we don't know why. We have sometimes no throttling, so no power, and then it's beginning in the first lap, so it's, yeah. We don't know, we must look about it, and hopefully tomorrow we found the problems. And
Short night for the team then?
Yeah, maybe we found it directly, so no, yeah, but this is racing. We have a good speed. So we are still on position 4 in the race, and when the problems come, I must stop. You know, it's impossible. I'm on the last place, so from this side we go out and we check everything, and then look for tomorrow.
Good decision. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So sounds like a minute electrical issue with that truck. Hoping that Team Hahn can find that issue and make sure that the truck can return to the circuit ahead of tomorrow's qualifying in 2 races. Brereton still just about fending off the Tank Pool 24 Scania behind. And then Janiak has lost a little bit of time as well. That lead battle is still a train well and truly. It's still Kurzim leading ahead of Steffi Helm. Then it's Alberthetti, Kish and Lenz. Lachko isn't too far away. Rodriguez is there or thereabouts. Then we get back to Teo Calvé, who's just up the road, bridging the gap between the mid-pack and the lead pack. And it's Brereton and Fast still battling away. There is our leader, building up a little bit of a gap. Now Andre Kurzim has managed to get a bit of breathing room between himself and Steffi Helm behind. She's still preoccupied with Antonio Alberthetti, who has got Norbert Kish just sat behind. Sasha Lenz is well and truly there. So too now is Adam Lachko and Jose Rodriguez. So it's 7 trucks all fighting over the podium. And a big look up the inside now from Stefan Fast. Almost contact between the pair of them. So Stefan Fast desperate to get past Brereton. Anderson is still trying to work his way through as well. So there's lots of battles going on everywhere we look. Anderson, he's always said that he's not going to really force the error, but if the error's there, he's going to go for it. We heard from him at Zolder saying he's a firm but fair racer, and he's really struggling here at JARAMA. It's such a tricky circuit to overtake, and I really do feel for Anderson at the moment, because it's a weekend of what could have been. The first race didn't go his way. The second race, he's just doing everything he can to try and get through. A big lock up there from Janiak. Managed to get the truck slowed down, but he's lost barrels of time to Luke Garrett behind. So there's 2 trucks battling away in the background. Then we've got this little trio still led by Brereton, then it's Fast, then it's Anderson. The lead battle has opened up a little bit. Kurzim has got 1.1 seconds between himself and Steffi Helm behind, who's still got Alberthetti, Kish, Lenz, Lachko and Rodriguez all nose to tail behind her. So it's a very, very busy section of the circuit wherever that lead pack goes. Up the hill once again towards Monza. A big look up the inside from Stefan Fast, trying to elbow that door open. You can see there's contact between the pair of them. Has Stefan Fast managed to work his way up the inside of Brereton? On the exit of the corner, they're still side by side. Anderson will be able to follow the same gap, so 2 places could have swapped in the space of 1 corner. Kurzim still leading the way. Then it's Fast, then it's Alberthetti. Then it's Kish, Lenz, Lachko and Rodriguez in the background all through the gravel. Who was that? I think that could have potentially been Stefan Fast. Anderson has managed to work his way past them both, so Anderson up into what is 9th place. Then it's Brereton, then it's Stefan Fast, who was looking good for 9th place. He's found himself right the way down in 11th. All this battling has allowed Janiek to get in there. Luke Garrett is still following suit as well. We'll try and figure out what went on at that final corner, but Anderson, really the big winner out of that. Just as I said, it wasn't really going his way. He's managed to pick up 2 places in the space of 2 corners. You can see that lead gap. Andre Kurzim still pulling away. Then it's Steffi Halm, followed by Alberthetti, Quiche, and Lenz. So too with Lachko and Rodriguez, all nose to tail. In the background, you can see this little battle. Anderson has started to build up a bit of breathing room, just leaving the 2 behind to battle it away. Brereton, Fast, and what is now Janiek. Janiek really closing up in that Dayglow yellow machine. In towards Pegaso we go, then it will be up the hill towards Ascari, round Portago we go. It's still Kurzim pulling away from Helm. Alberthetti is there or thereabouts. Teo Calvé closing up, so it's pretty much 8 trucks all fighting for that little piece of tarmac. Anderson well and truly pulling away. Still Brereton defending from Fast, who's got Janiek behind. Luke Garrett not too far adrift. Damage on pretty much all the trucks within camera shot as it stands. Apart from Luke Garrett. Luke Garrett, a very clean driver indeed. But it's still Brereton just about holding on to that position ahead of Stefan Fast. This is, of course, the battle for 10th place. Brereton somehow hanging on to 10th. Janiek slowly turning up the pressure. You can see Anderson goes by and just how much he was being held up by that battle. He's really got the pace. And now a bad run through Bugatti from Fast. Janiek all the way around the outside before we even get to the end of the braking area. So another place lost from Stefan Fast. He's under pressure from losing another already because Luke Garrett just sat behind as well. So Janiek up into what is 11th place. Fast is only going backward. He has got a lot of damage on that truck. And of course we saw a bit of a moment through the final corner. So that damage could potentially be hurting his lap time now. As they cross the line at 100 miles per hour, it's still Janiek in front of Fast, and Luke Garrett looking to work his way into that piece of free air in front as well. Bit of damage flinging itself from the tail end of what I think was Stefan Fast's truck. The lead gap's massively opened up, 2.1 seconds between Kurzim and Steffi Halm now. Steffi's really defending with everything she's got from Alberthetti. Then it's race 1 winner and championship leader Norbert Quiche. Sasha Lenz is under pressure from Adam Lachko, who's still got Jose Rodriguez just sat behind. Then the second of the Bagheera Racing Freightliners of Teo Calvé is there or thereabouts. Bouncing over the curbs goes Andre Kurzim. Nose to tail through Ascari, then hard on the brakes in towards Portago. There is Teo Calvé just about there as well, starting to push his way forward into that battle in front. And Anderson over Ascari he goes. Then a rather lonely Brereton because, of course, Stefan Fast with that mistake, it allowed Janiek to get through, and they're slowing each other down behind. Luke Garrett is there as well, so it's 3 trucks all fighting over that place, and Brereton will be more than happy to see that in his rearview mirror. There goes Andre Kurzim, then Steffi Halm, Alberthetti, Quiche, Lenz, Lachko, Rodriguez. Then in a few moments' time, Calvé will go by, so there's lots of battles going on. Through the penultimate corner comes this train. Through the final corner goes our leader, still lights ablaze. There is Steffi Halm, Alberthetti, Norbert Quiche slowly starting to push for that 3rd place, looking to get onto the podium for the 2nd time this weekend. So really starting to work his way forward is Norbert. Of course, he started in 8th place on reverse grid. And now he's trying to work his way back through the pack. Alberthetti will be the next target. Andre Kurzim 2.2 seconds clear as he crossed the line in the Iveco. And Steffi Halm, what a brilliant defensive drive so far. 10 laps of the race completed, going on to the final lap of the race next time by. And we'll slowly start to paint a picture of how the results are going to finish. But at the moment, Norbert Quiche still pushing forward, trying to get onto that podium. He's running out of time to do it. He's got about a lap and 2/3 to go. A big look up the inside from Lachko. He tries to carve his way up the inside of Lenz. He gave it a good go. It cost him a lot of time. I don't know whether he picked up any damage from that. It almost looked like there was a bit of contact, but he has continued on. Jose Rodriguez is just sat behind as well. Teo Calvé in 8th place, French truck racing champion, really pushing forward all over the curbs that time through from Andre Kurzim. So too is Alberthetti. He's been doing that all weekend. The time is clearly there. He's still sat there in 3rd place, defensive in towards Portago. And it's Norbert Quiche just sat behind, desperate to get onto that podium. Sasha Lenz just sat behind as well. Of course, with that late dive from Lachko, it's cost him a lot of time. So Rodriguez in the number 14 MAN is slowly piling the pressure on as well. In towards Bugatti we go. Not really too much in the way of attack from Norbert Kish at the moment. He's just sitting on that rear bumper. He looks for the cutback. Does he get the better run out of the corner? No, he doesn't. The gap opens up once again. Sasha Lenz has been there or thereabouts as well. And Steffi Helm under more pressure once again. Alberthetti, I think a little bit of contact trying just to edge her wide towards the outside of the circuit, but Steffi's still hanging on to second place somehow. It's been a brilliant defensive drive. Onto the final lap of the race we'll go. And Steffi Helm still in second place from Alberthetti, from Kish. So it's 3 trucks all fighting over the final 2 steps of the podium. Then we get back to Lenz, Lachko, Rodriguez and Teo Calvet in a very second-hand looking Bagheera Freightliner. But you can see that lead gap massively opened up because of all the battling in the background. 3 seconds between Kurzim and Steffi Helm. Andre Kurzim goes by. There's Steffi Helm. Antonio Alberthetti can't decide whether he wants to go forward or back at this point. Then it's Norbert Kies, then it's Sasha Lenz, then it's Adam Lachko and Jose Rodriguez. Teo Calvet, give it a couple more laps and I'm sure he would be there, but annoyingly he doesn't have a few more laps. This is the final lap of the race, so I think he might have to settle for 8th place, barring any issues up the road. Andre Kurzim, it's been a very well-controlled race ever since he got in front of Steffi Helm. He's worked his way into that clean air and found the potential in that truck. A little bit of a lock-up on the way in towards Farina, potentially trying to go for the fastest lap of the race now while he's in that clean air. Steffi Helm still got Alberthetti behind. Norbert Kish not as close as we've seen him, all the way around the outside from Lachko. Has he managed to get past Lenz on the final lap of the race? Yes, he has, on the exit of Farina in towards Pegaso, position secured. So a great move from Adam Lachko up into 5th place. There goes our leader Andre Kurzim. Steffi Helm still sat there in second. Then it's Antonio Alberthetti and Norbert Kish, closer than we've really ever seen them. Almost contact between the pair of them. Adam Lachko's secured that place in front of Sasha Lenz. Jose Rodriguez was trying to work his way through the same gap but couldn't quite make it. And Teo Calvet, best seats in the house, watching it all unfold in front of him. Sasha Lenz looking to work his way back past Adam Lachko. I don't think he'll make it work in towards Bugatti unless it could be much later on the brakes. Past our camera goes our leader of Andre Kurzim. Steffi Helm still sat there in second place. It's been a brilliant drive so far. Only 2 more corners to go and she will have one of the most impressive drives of the season on her hands. Antonio Alberthetti still sat there in 3rd place, looking to defend from Norbert Kish through the final corner, but through the final corner for the final time. For the 2nd time this weekend, it is Andre Kurzim to take the win here at JARAMA, to win race 2 of the weekend. Checkered flag being waved, and Steffi Helm, what a race, manages to finish in 2nd place. And side by side as we cross the line was Alberthetti and Norbert Kish. I think Alberthetti, home favourite, has managed to cross the line and remain in 3rd place. Yes, he has. Norbert Kish finishes in 4th ahead of Lachko, Lenz, Rodriguez and Calvet in 8th place. What a race. Anderson did manage to finish in 9th place after getting in front of Brereton and Faas and just worked his way into that clean air. And Janiek did manage to hold on to 11th place ahead of Stefan Faas. Luke Garrett couldn't really work his way past the Tank Pool 24 racing machine. But the 2nd race of the weekend, like I said at the end of race 1, it's only going to get closer and we've still got another day of it tomorrow. Of course, another qualifying session, 20-minute qualifying session, 10-minute Super Pole ahead of another 2 12-lap races. Norbert Kish, after battling so hard to try and get onto the podium once again, just didn't have enough to get past Antonio Alberthetti. Andre Kurzim enjoying the power he has underneath his right foot. Very, very well driven. Lots of truck control there. And Norbert Kish, as per always, very good at it. Every single round we see that, just coasting on those brakes. And when he says the circuit is very rough on tyres, I'm starting to see why. Because on the in-lap, he decides, you know what, I've got 1,200 horsepower, let's use every single one of them. So as and when the trucks return to Stefan Faas sideways on the exit of Farina as well, they'll have to be careful not to get rid of too much of that weight, because in towards Parc Fermé they'll go and they'll realise you're pretty much just running on the seams of the tyres, so they'll have to be careful. Horns being honked. Marshals absolutely love truck racing here. Seems like in Spain that they can really bring out the best in the crowd. And of course, a massive thank you to our fabulous circuit staff and marshals for their undying commitment to motorsport. We won't be able to do it without them. It's been a very, very good outing for Jose Rodriguez this weekend. He has won the Crane class by the looks of that, so a Goodyear Cup to add to his collection. And Luke Garrett, a good race as well. Normally he slowly starts to fall away, but he was well and truly in that battle with the trucks in front. So it's great to see from Luke on the exit once again. Andre Kurzim over the moon with the win. And I'm sure that Iveco has probably lost a couple of kilos just on that in-lap. So he's managed to lay down a hell of a lot of that in rubber. There are our marshals, just getting ready to swap the circuit over. There is Andre Kurzim through the penultimate corner once again, making use of all the power he has underneath his right foot. Of course, this being the last race here at JARAMA today, so no more on-track action. But tomorrow we will kick it off once again with the FIA European Truck Racing Championship warm-up. Then we will see on-track action from the Spanish Truck Racing Championship for their second free practice session of the weekend. And then it's all to play for, because we have the second qualifying, the second Super Pole session from the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Once again streamed here on YouTube and on the websites and various social medias as well. So make sure you do check in for us with that tomorrow. But in a few moments' time, all the trucks will have worked their way in towards the pit lane. They will take their various spots in Parc Fermé and the celebration area. There is Andre Kurzim parking in front of the #1 marker. Very well done from Andre. He's had 2 wins so far this season. Let's make that 3. Very well done from Andre. And then in a few moments' time, I'm sure we will have the podium celebrations and hopefully an interview with Andre. There is Steffi Helm. Very well done to Steffi. So well driven. Started on pole, only lost 1 place and never faltered after that. She learnt her lesson the first time and decided, you know what, nobody else is coming by. After a fierce attack from Antonio Albacete, he just didn't have enough. There is Anthony Janiak. Oh, pardon me, that's Andre Kurzim, celebrating with his team, over the moon with that win. And then out of the cockpit will clamber Steffi Helm. So too will Antonio Albacete. I'm sure Antonio will get the biggest cheer of them all. Of course, racing in front of his home fans, well and truly a fan favourite. But so well driven from Andre Kurzim. There is Steffi Helm walking over to the Team Hahn managers and mechanics, congratulating with her team. So very well driven from Steffi. And it was a brilliant race throughout. Lots of battles absolutely everywhere we looked. And I'm sure in a few moments' time we will see Antonio Albacete. There he is. So getting out of his MAN. Such a great guy is Antonio. So funny as well, so down to earth. And it's great to see him on the podium once again. Andre Kurzim over the moon with that win. The team delighted with it as well. A quick photo opportunity with the media. And congratulating Albacete for what was a very, very good race. And that's great to see as well. Just like I say, so down to earth. Antonio just congratulating the team of Janiak. So such a great guy. And the general FIA European Truck Racing Championship paddock is such a friendly place. Everybody knows everybody. Will always stop and say hello. So it's great to see that nothing has changed in such a long while. But 3rd win of the season for Anthony Janiak. And once again, more than happy with that. Yet more points to add to his championship. Somewhat out of place, but today's win will massively help his championship efforts. You can see there Christina sat just behind some of the drivers, getting ready, I'm sure, for a very quick interview. And hopefully we will hear from one of our drivers. What you need to do, what you need to do, Christina, is just go up and tap Janiak on the shoulder and go, oi, come on, we need an interview, because that was such a brilliant race. And as soon as he got past, he just continued to work forward. And I'm sure in a few moments' time we will get him. There he is, Anthony Janiak has noticed. And I'm sure we'll hear a quick word from him. There is our brilliant circuit staff, just doing their final checks on the circuit ahead of tomorrow's events. A little bit of debris to get dispersed and collected. And then we will head down to the paddock for, I'm sure, a few interviews. Yes, we do. We do have an interview down with with Andre Kurzim. So Andre Kurzim and Christina, down to you.
Yes. First of all, congratulations. You won today. With what feeling?
Thank you. Yes, I think we are very happy. JARAMA was for us every year, not so specially. And yes, it's amazing. We are very happy to win the 2nd race today.
The temperature was lowering a bit. Did it make that easier to have a better tire management?
Yes, I think so. The tires after the first race, it was destroyed, and now we know the important thing is we have to manage the tires, and I think we did it very good, and yes, we can win the race. Great.
It was spectacular, this race, and of course Steffi Harm, she kept her elbows out and kept a little bit of all the good drivers away from you a bit.
Yes, I know Steffi is she can make it very hard for overtaking, and I know Adam was behind me, Antonio was behind me, and yeah, now you have to go in the front and you have to show in the mirror because the faster guys are behind you. But yes, it was okay.
What is going to happen this evening?
Yes, at first we have to change the gearbox because the gearbox is damaged, and after that I think we work, and tomorrow hopefully we can do it again, and then we can make party.
Thank you very much, Andre Kurzem. So we are going to have a party as well, I hope so, but first of all we're going to see the party on the podium.
Thank you very much, Christina. Even with a damaged gearbox, Andre Kurzem managing to take to the top step of the podium. And if you are looking for a party, go to Don't Touch Racing's awning. I'm sure they're having one tonight. Andre Kurzem, your eventual winner, ahead of Steffi Harm. Antonio Albacete rounding out your podium, so another good showing from the fan favourite. Then it's Norbert Kish and Adam Lachko, followed by Sasha Lenz and Jose Rodriguez. Teo Calvet, brilliant stuff from the back row of the grid, working his way back up into 8th place. Then it's Jamie Anderson and Shane Brereton, the two Brits, rounding out your top 10 here for the second race at JARAMA. And then the next few drivers are as follows. Anthony Janiak finishing in 11th place, followed by Stefan Fass, Luke Garrett, Elia Koloc and Heinrich Clemenseca, somewhat off the pace in their final race of today. But I'm sure everything will be all set and ready ahead of tomorrow's proceedings. And in a few moments' time, we will have the podium celebrations, not only from the overall finishes, but also the Goodyear Cup as well. You can see Anderson in the background just discussing that race with one of our fabulous championship officials, Antonio Albacete and Steffi Harm, discussing that race. Such a brilliant defensive drive from Steffi, and Antonio, he really threw everything at it. He just didn't have that extra little bit to work his way by. And as everybody's doing their final preparations, the circuit staff making sure the flags and the national anthems are at the ready, I'm sure we will end up with the podium celebrations in just a few moments' time. We now do have champagne, so the drivers will be more than happy with that. Of course, Sasha Lenz wasn't too happy about not having any from race 1, but race 2 we do have champagne, so I'm sure the drivers will be over the moon with that. Final preparations on the podium. And in a few moments' time, we will have Antonio Albacete taking to the podium. So Antonio, after finishing 3rd in race 2 of the weekend, takes to the podium ahead of Steffi Harm in 2nd place, starting on pole position, but managed to cross the line in 2nd place. Very well done to Steffi. She takes to the podium now. And the overall winner, Andre Kurzem, in the Iveco, after working his way in front of Steffi Harm, got to the lead and stayed there. There is Andre, up to the top step of the podium. And now, in a few moments' time, it will be time for the national anthem of the winning driver.
Round of the season of the FIA European.
So the German national anthem played, and of course Andre Kurzem over the moon with that Goodyear caps on the head of our drivers, and then the media will get their opportunity to get all the photos of the trophies are held aloft. Andre Kurzem, your winner of race 2 of the weekend, followed then by Steffi Harm in 2nd, with Antonio Albacete, local Spaniard, to finish in 3rd place. You can hear the crowd still here in force. The final on-track action of today. They've been here, as Christina said, from at least 11 o'clock in the morning. So very committed fans here in Spain. Some of the best fans we've seen throughout the entire season. Once again, caps change, this time for the sponsors. Make sure the sponsors are pleased, of course. And of course, the partners of the FIA ETRC promoted in the background, of course, Goodyear, Iveco, Alcoa Tyres, Smart Witness, Ford Trucks and Kogel Trailers. So a massive thank you to the partners of the FIA ETRC. And you can see the drivers jump at the opportunity to spray champagne. And Steffi Helm, the first one to pop the cork. Then it's Albacete and Andre Kurzim celebrating on the podium with their team and, of course, their fellow drivers. And it's great to see Antonio up on the podium. Such a great guy. And, of course, celebrating with Andre Kurzim and Steffi Helm off the podium. They clamber. And then it will be new trophies, new bottles of champagne, and the new national anthem readied for the Goodyear Cup podium. Will be Jose Rodriguez to take to the top step ahead of Teo Calvé and Jamie Anderson. All that will be readied just a few moments' time. And Anderson, it's good to see him on the podium, but we know there is more potential there. Keep an eye on him for tomorrow. They'll give the truck the once-over, and then tomorrow it will be all to play for. So Jamie Anderson finishes in third place in the Goodyear Cup, takes to the podium now. So very well done to Jamie. And then finishing in second place, the French truck racing champion, multiple Goodyear Cup winner so far this season, Teo Calvé. Very well done to Teo, having just completed his exams back in Toulouse. And to the top step of the podium goes Jose Rodriguez. Very well done from Jose. And now it's time once again for the national anthem of the winning driver.
the podium of the Goodyear Cup.
So the Goodyear Cup podium is celebrating now in just a few moments' time, and then it's Goodyear caps worn once again. Please the sponsors, allow media to get their photo opportunities, and then it will be time, of course, for the celebrations with the champagne. I'm sure the driver's over the moon with that. It's great to see Teo up on the podium, of course, starting towards the tail end of the order after, I'm sure, what was a stressful couple of weeks, getting ready for Le Mans, just completing his exams at Toulouse. And once again, he takes to the podium after winning the French Truck Racing Championship just a couple of weeks ago. So trophies held, and then it's time for the champagne. A little bit of confusion. Jose Rodriguez and Teo Calvé mutually deciding, you know what, let's get the drink ready. So corks popped, and now they decide to celebrate with each other and with the team. So very well done to our podium drivers. Once again, just congratulating each other. And the final podium of Saturday is just closing its way out now. Miriam will have some highlights on the way from what was an incredibly close race 2 of the weekend. So it is as follows. Steffi Helm led the entire grid in towards turn 1. René Reynard starting in second place. Immediately you could see the intentions of Andre Kurzim looking up the inside of René Reynard, and the hard-charging Jose Rodriguez working his way up the inside of Stefan Fast there. You can see Andre Kurzim elbowing his way through, and then in towards the barrier went René Reynard, and then in towards retirement as well. While all that was going on, the mid-pack was only getting closer because Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz managed to escape the grasp from behind. But then under pressure was Shane Brereton from the rather slow Jochen Hahn, of course, with that damage. Then Stefan Fast and Anthony Janiek just getting closer and closer together. Anderson desperate to get by. He got stuck behind all 3 drivers in front for quite a substantial amount of time and eventually managed to carve his way through. but it did take a lot of work. Brereton and Fast battling away. Anderson just trying to find the gap on the way through. Andre Curzon managed to get in front of Steffi Helm and stay there. Got into that clean air and just ran away with it. And then we saw Alberthetti, Kish, Lenz, Lachko and Rodriguez all fighting for those top 8 places. Stefan Fast just dropped behind Brereton. He was giving it a go, but he lost so much time with a slight mistake. It meant that Anthony Janiek managed to work his way through, and Stefan Fast was just sat behind with Luke Garrett all over his tail. Lachko threw everything at Sacha Lenz, just couldn't manage to piece it together and work his way through. Home favourite Antonio Alberthetti drove a sterling race. Brilliant defensive drive from himself and the championship leader, but Norbert Kish just couldn't work his way past the Spaniard. Then through the final couple of corners, you can just see how much time that Andre Curzon had made. And for the first time this weekend, in this second race of the weekend, Andre Curzon crossed the line in first place. Steffi Helm, a brilliant drive to take home second, with Antonio Alberthetti fending off the championship leader of Norbert Kish to cross the line and round out the podium. You can see just how much that win meant to Andre Curzon. Up on the podium, absolutely delighted with that one. Great to see Antonio Alberthetti, local Spaniard, on the podium. We do have an interview as well, so in a few moments' time, down to Cristina.
And the best thing ever happened to José Rodrigues. O melhor que seja possível aconteceu hoje.
É verdade, não estava a contar, porque a primeira vez que pego no carro, 2 anos parado e fazer pelo menos a segunda prova. A primeira prova tive um azar na partida, saí fora, tentei recuperar, mas é muito difícil com estes carros que são muito bons, a concorrência. A segunda manga ganhei um bocadinho mais de confiança e tentei imprimir um bom ritmo e foi o que aconteceu e felizmente fiquei em primeiro lugar da Promoters Cup.
As he said, he's working on lap by lap, getting more confident with this truck. He said the trucks are really hard to drive, and of course the other teams, they are so strong as well. And he said, we've been absent here for 2 years right now due to the pandemic. It's been a tough time, so we're very glad to see you back. Ficamos muito contentes que vocês estão aqui. Última questão agora, o que vocês vão fazer hoje à noite?
Unicamente vamos preparar os carros, comemorar um pouco para amanhã tentar fazer uma boa prova também.
E também amanhã, quais são os objetivos para amanhã?
Depois amanhã penso que vai vir chuva, já é outro desafio porque eu não conheço o carro, vai ser começar através do zero para tentar fazer o melhor possível.
Okay, muito obrigada. So, he will be back to his team right now. Lots of work going on tonight since we got a day ahead of us, the Sunday, with race 3 and 4 here at JARAMA. And he also said, it's going to be rainy tomorrow, so we need to find a setup that we are able to compete again, and we are starting at 0. And I think we are starting at 0 again tomorrow on Sunday here from JARAMA. So I think maybe the final and last words from our commentators.
Thank you very much, Christina. We did mention rain at the start of the weekend. Of course, we heard that rain shouldn't be on the forecast, but clearly it is on the way. Jose Rodriguez is struggling to find the setup, but I'm sure by tomorrow he will have everything squared away. So much like at Zolder, much like at Le Mans, rain on the way tomorrow. Don't miss it. We've got another qualifying session, another Superpole session, followed by 2 more races. If you've been watching along at home, thank you very much for watching. If you are one of the brilliant fans here at JARAMA, I wish you a safe journey home. This has been the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Join us tomorrow for more of the same. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.